Lawmakers in Pennsylvania Wednesday debated whether to approve a key recommendation of a grand jury report that uncovered child sexual abuse by Catholic priests. The report found more than 1,000 people had been abused by more than 300 priests over the course of 7 decades. One of its key recommendations was the creation of a 2-year period for anyone over the age of 30 to sue for abuse suffered as a child. Nikki Battiste spoke with 2 men who confronted the former priest they say abused them as children and asked CBS News to record their encounter to help other abuse survivors.
I don't have happy memories here.
Neither do I.
I mean, when I think of grade school, I think of this. I think of the abuse.
This is the first time Sean Doherty and Brian Sabo have been back in Johnstown, Pennsylvania together in nearly 30 years.
You drive by something that most people would just drive by. We see it and you have these feelings of being 12 years old again.
They've come to sit down face-to-face with Father George Koharchik, their former teacher who they say molested them in a Catholic grade school. Doherty says the abuse began at age 10.
At what point did you start to think George was doing something wrong?
After the second or third time you're on his lap in his car and he accidentally brushes his thumb and hand against your penis, you start to think, yeah, this is different.
So then I was in 6th grade, and that's when the actual physical abuse began. We were kids. That was our normal.
But they never talked about the abuse and eventually went their separate ways until 2012, when Koharchik made front-page headlines. He later admitted to abusing at least 5 children.
I mean, I picked up the phone a million times to cold call George Koharchik, but I never did. George.
Until now.
This is Sean Doherty calling. I think it would be beneficial to talk to.
Doherty finally asked Koharchik to meet. The key, Doherty wanted the meeting recorded. They hope a conversation with their abuser shown publicly will give other victims the courage to come forward as well. Before the meeting, CBS News set up hidden cameras.
What's up, George? How you doing? Have a seat. How you doing? I don't know if Brian's ready to shake yet. All right, have a seat. So we'll try to make this as least awkward as possible, I guess.
Listen, I'm certainly sorry for any harm I've caused and ashamed of anything that I did back then.
I mean, you're not still active, are you?
Oh, no, certainly not. And haven't been for a long time.
What was it about us? Is it more convenience because we live close to the school?
Or was there something else about Sean and I that made us a target?
No, it was a familiarity, maybe.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm angry with what you did, Bob, right? I'm angry. But I have forgiven you a long time ago for this, right? The part that I cannot forgive is the cover-up. That crushed me. We were taught to, oh, there's a God. I tried to kill myself over this when I was 24. Legit.
When you first started having those feelings, did you feel like, should I talk to someone? Or, it could have saved 10 of us.
If there is something that you see as a problem, it's not the sort of thing where you're going to call the bishop up and say, anything about it, because then that's good. Thank you. Then you run the risk of being dismissed or whatever.
Is this something that you would have confessed in a confessional?
Oh, I have, yeah, certainly.
Do you think that's forgiven you?
Yeah, from what I understand God's forgiveness to be, certainly.
Maybe with God. I can't. I have to carry this the rest of my life. And
as buried emotions surfaced, Sabo needed a moment to himself.
I came to tell you, I don't want to think about you anymore. I can't forgive you.
Doherty and Sabo ended the meeting nearly 90 minutes later. We gave Koharchik another opportunity to speak after he declined our request for an interview.
Nikki Battiste with CBS News. Why did you come to meet with Sean and Brian? Nothing? Nothing you want to say to your victims?
I just successfully met with the guy that abused me and got to say everything that I wanted to say to him. Got it off my chest, and I'm at peace right now.
I made sure I told him the pain you've caused, I'm giving it back to you, and he just said he understood. For whatever that's worth, it meant a lot to me to tell him that.
Why was it so important to you that you talked to him on camera in a way that other people could see, that other victims could hear?
So they could see the other victims who were betrayed and who are vulnerable to see his vulnerability. And it's a long damn road, but you can regain your control over your own life.
Joining me now is CBS News correspondent Nikki Battiste. Nikki, this is such a powerful story that these men have been able to confront the person they say abused them. And a lot of folks are going to wonder, how are these men doing now? We heard from them there. Now that they've had a chance to kind of reflect, how are they?
We recorded this about 3 weeks ago, and I've been in touch with them almost daily since that day just to make sure they are okay. And at no moment did they ever regret doing this. Every day they say they're glad they've done this. They feel some sort of healing. And Brian in particular says, I went there to take back the power he took from me, and he feels like he's done that.
And what about this former priest? Where is he now?
He is living at home, a free man. He was removed from ministry in 2012, but he is living freely, and he has never been charged because the statute of limitations in Pennsylvania for both of these victims and all of the other victims of his that we are aware of, he's admitted to abusing at least 5 other children, possibly 12. The statute of limitations has run out for all of them.
And Nikki, give us a sense of how this all came about. Why is it that these two men wanted to confront the person they say abused them?
So Sean is one of the first survivors I'd ever spoken with in covering this story. And he said he was really interested in speaking with the priest who he says abused him. He had gotten back in touch with Brian. Brian also, for the first time, wanted to share his story publicly after seeing the Pennsylvania grand jury report, after seeing there were at least 1,000 other victims, and he wasn't alone. So they came to us. They called George. They asked us to record the meeting. They wanted the public to see it. They wanted other victims to see it. That would hopefully help them come forward if they haven't yet.
So what about the status of the grand jury recommendation that's up for debate in Pennsylvania right now?
The big fight for the victims in Pennsylvania is to get a 2-year retroactive window that would let them file a civil lawsuit no matter when their abuse happened. This is all child sex abuse of victims, not just of the Catholic Church. Right now, as we speak, in the Pennsylvania State Senate, they're battling over this bill. We understand they're likely to amend it. They probably will take out that window. They might try to include some sort of compensation fund that would pay the victims but not give them a day in court.
So, Nikki, a CBS News poll released Wednesday evening found that 57% of Catholics say the Pope and Vatican are doing a poor job of handling claims of child sex abuse by priests. What are you hearing from the people that you've spoken with?
I've spoken with so many victims, so many survivors, so many Catholics, their families, and they're really torn. They're in great turmoil. Many still are going to church. They're still considering themselves Catholic. Some have left the church. The one point so many of them say is, I just can't give them money right now. I can't put in that donation basket. I don't know where the money's going. I'm frustrated. What do I do? So that seems to be the main reaction right now.
All right, Nikki Battiste, a powerful piece of reporting. Nikki, thank you so much.
Thank you.